Hello. Making a video, and I want to talk about those different forms of communication, and I want to discuss in this video the different forms of communication, how they are being perceived by people. So, for example, I said many times on the internet, in the chat room, in my videos, on Facebook, talking to people, I said it is important for men to be nice to women. Okay, so, and I guess, everyone would agree with that statement, and I know that the trolls will admit that is the truth, but often they don't want to admit that, or they don't want to they don't want to behave in a respectful way, and that's because they are on alcohol and drugs, and they feel like they shouldn't have to be nice to anyone, and they don't have to be nice to any. I mean, nobody owes anyone anything. That's the truth, of course. But of course, everyone can agree that people should be at least neutral to someone and not be abusive. So I think everyone can agree on that. Jordan Peterson, he kind of, I don't know what went through his brain, particularly as a psychology professor, but I guess he has frustrations also, and that's not good when they come out in public speaking, not when he has a bunch of followers and students at the university and so on. And that's not a good idea to say something that is not making the world a better place, right? So, well, he said some things that are, I don't even want to really repeat it, but I have to in order to make the video more clear. He said that he thinks he needs to be, or men need to be, I don't even want to repeat this, because then I don't want this to be reinforcing people's neuronal connections that they already made. But let's put it this way. He doesn't think they need to be nice to women. And then he also has the wrong idea about women, what women like. So I'm not going to say any more than this. This is the typical misunderstanding that's going on in the world. And I wanted to differentiate between simping and genuine friendliness. So some people, they think simping is not genuine. They think this is fake friendliness, and I can agree with you. Fake friendliness is not making the world much better. It makes some people actually angry, and I understand. But if we look at the big picture and see where these people are coming from, then we can understand more about them, and then we don't have to feel victimized. Okay, so that's really the entire situation, is that so many people feel victimized. Okay, I'm accused of being a drama queen and feeling victimized. Okay, Sometimes I feel victimized, and rightly so, you know. Yeah, but I'm not standing there all day long and finger pointing and finding fault, and I have done that in the past and that was wrong. Okay. I don't want to do that anymore. That doesn't get us any further, making the world better, obviously. So I want to make the world better. I want to do everything I can in my power to make the world a better place. Okay? So I walk my talk. I do my part to make the world better. And I think the absolute foundation for making the world better is if we introspect and if we say to other people, this is how I really feel. Okay? And we can cry, we can feel sorry for ourselves, we can also feel victimized in that moment. The key is that we don't use the victimization as an act out. Okay, so that's the difference between, crybabying and genuinely feeling your pain, feeling your emotions. So crybabying, being stuck in an act out of feeling victimized, that's something that the ego will cling to. Even the ego clings to all kinds of things. The ego, I've seen it all. I don't even want to repeat it. It's so awful. I've seen it also in Germany, and people will say something that shocked me. Where people will actually identify themselves with their mental illness and with their physical illnesses even. So no, that gets serious when that happens. That's really red flag. So, but people also identify themselves, of course, with being a systemic victim, like being in a group of people, in an entire group of some sort from the human species who has been systematically battered and beaten down by another group. Okay, so people can put themselves into either one of those groups, and then they reinforce each other's neuronal connections of being a victim, and that's an act out. Okay, to be in this perpetual state of us against them. They are against us, and them people, like finger pointing, they're all like that. First of all, that's a total misunderstanding. There is no group of people where everyone is the same and where everyone thinks exactly identically the same. There are always people in groups, or there's always exceptions of people who are kind of like at the verge or kind of like at the threshold of leaving that group, or who are kind of critical of that group, or who have some things that they view differently because their brains are different and they have love for this or that animal or artwork or whatever. So there are always exceptions, of course. So generalizations are always coming from the ego and coming from identification with certain groups. That's very dangerous. Black Lives Matter is the perfect example for this. They feel victimized and stepped on like a rug, and they're not. Okay, they are so not stepped on and victimized by the other groups, like Oriental people and white people. No, some of them are afraid of them, and rightly so, because Oriental people and white people are often beaten down and victimized by the ones that feel victimized. See, it creates a war. It's an endless loop of hate and finger pointing and blame gaming and aggression and violence and war atmosphere, prison atmosphere. It's a loop. It's stuckness. It's mental illness. Okay. Everyone has their story. Some people have collective pain. Okay, but being stuck in that and acting it out, that doesn't get people any further, of course. So now if we look at men versus women, okay, now that's a big one. That's a real big issue right now. In society in general, I see that. There's a lot of hatred going on. It's like a war zone between women and men. And that's not good. It shouldn't be that way. Okay? That goes against nature. That goes against evolution. We should be loving each other. Should be holding each other in each other's arms, kissing and all of that. But no, what do people do? They go at each other's throats. And yeah, I'm guilty of that. One time I actually literally went to Paul's throat because he was aggravating me so incredibly much in LA. I was still doing primal therapy at that time. So I had nothing under control at that time. I was completely volatile and I was constantly mad about something and terrible OCD rituals, and if something didn't go my way, I got mad. But then he did the crybabying, and he interferes also. He interferes with things, which is very annoying. But I don't have the right to go at his throat, so obviously. So I have to just sit with it and say, this is annoying. Okay. So I'm just gonna sit with this now here on the couch, and I feel how annoying it is without acting it out. And without screaming also, That's not good to get all mad and get into a rage and all of this. I can scream it into my pillow if I have to. If the pressure is so strong that it has to scream itself out, or I might even hit the pillow, but not involve someone else into this. Okay? Never hit anyone, never scream at anyone. And even if the other people do that, someone has to step out of that cycle of war and suffering and say, enough is enough. I don't want to see war anymore. Go in your room, scream it into your bed, leave me out of this, and I leave you out of this, and I deal with my issues on my couch. Okay, and that's how it works for me. I can't really get someone else to do this unless they are willing to have that insight and that understanding and recognition that the fighting and all of this is not going anywhere. Okay, so most people are in resistance. Paul is in resistance, and I can talk to him about this. I can talk to everyone about this. But if people are in resistance, then that's where they're at emotionally. Okay, but I will talk about this anyway because I think that it is important to talk about these things. The most important thing is that I walk my talk. That I live by example in this way, so because even if I don't, I can still say this is wrong, and my message is still true. But it is better if I also walk my talk, because then I actually put myself into the mind state of peace and working on myself, going into my own mind. Okay. So instead of clinging to other people and trying to force other people to be better, be nicer, or be more insightful. I can't do that. I can't force anyone. But living by example alone will inspire other people and make other people see, yeah, this is obviously better for your peace of mind, if you do it this way. And there are some people that will force themselves to be peaceful. That doesn't work either. If I force myself to do anything, even if it's peacefulness, then it's just a pressure cooker and it will explode at the wrong moment, and I will be volatile and so on. No, I have to work on this. I have to actually really do that inwardness meditation process. I have to sit with that anger. I can have a rock in my hand like this, but not throw the rock, but hold the rock on my lap and feel this rock, and it feels comforting. Okay, the energy from the rock is very protective and very healing and life-giving. And then I can contemplate on what I feel, at any given time, and if I feel extremely like a pressure cooker, I can scream it into my pillow, which I have done many times. This is very important to do. And don't do that in front of your animals or children. You have to close the door, you have to leave the family out in front of the door, and then you go into your bed or your primal room, that's soundproof with padded walls, and you can hit the padded walls, or you can, which is the best, to have a soundproof room. It's really the best. I had one of those once in Germany, but then I had to move out and I didn't get the chance to sell it in time. And then whoever, I think the landlord lady there got that primal room. I wonder if she actually used it for screaming. Probably not. But my parents, they could have let me pick it up and put it in one of the living rooms. Would have been really, really, really nice, but they didn't let me. So that would have helped my brother and me a whole lot. So if we had that primal room there, but whatever, it is. It's all ridiculous, the way my parents and my brother and I handle anything that has to do with looking into the future in regards to planning and financial things, and holding on to possessions and making the best out of it, so holding on to furniture and stuff like this. We're very quick to give things away, and that's not very practical. So, but since I don't have a primal room, I use my mattress, I use my pillow, and I sit with this, and I really feel it. I really let myself feel whatever it feels like, and not run away from it. That's really the key with all of this. And let go of other people, that's really the key in terms of struggling. So letting go of other people in terms of wanting something, eliciting something, some kind of response or some kind of something that we demand, something like this, you know. So we need to let go of the other people, and we need to wish it's important to wish them well and really mean it, and sit on the couch and say, I'm dealing with this now on my own. I don't want anything from anyone. Okay, I wish them well. This is my pain. Okay, I recognize that. Whatever it is, if I'm annoyed about how Paul is treating me, you know, how he's always trying to interfere with something that I'm doing, and I say 10 times, I'm doing this myself, don't interfere, and he'll interfere anyway. That's very aggravating, and I don't want to get mad at him anymore. I don't want to yell anymore. I really don't. So what do I have to do? I have to remind myself, I'm going to the couch and I'm dealing with this here. I can say 1,000 times to him, please don't interfere with my stuff anymore, please don't make a drama out of this or that. Whatever it is, the washing machine, whatever I'm always doing something wrong with everything. He always accuses me of handling things wrong and breaking something, and that doesn't feel very good. So that's his struggle, okay? But I can only work on myself, so I go in my room and I feel it. It is annoying. And I can sit with that and I can feel it all the way through. Maybe I even cry. Sometimes I cry in anger. That happens too, with some kind of like a squealing sound, because I'm so annoyed. And then after I felt that, then I can see him again for who he is. Okay, he has pain, he struggles with me, he has anxiety, he's constantly in some kind of anxiety. His dreams at night reflect that. He is constantly worried about me, like overprotectively worried, like an overprotective dad. And then I can appreciate that, and I can say he cares about me, I see it from another angle, and I can really appreciate him for whom he is. So there he is coming, okay. Making a video, da 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 da. Yeah. Okay. I don't have to turn the video off. He starts talking about something and then my voice was on it. You have to delete the video. No. So, but whatever it is, if we get annoyed by something, or if we get angry, or if we're frustrated and we don't get what we need. I don't get the European Basset Hound. I get frustrated, it's awful, and what am I gonna do? And then I cling to this, and then I really can't find a European Basset Hound when I'm getting into this mind state of I must have that European Basset Hound now. I must find that ideal dog, and where can I find that dog? And then I break up the bridges with all of these people, because I come in through the activism door and I hit all of them psychologically over the head, and they all like, you don't wanna, this lady Nikki Daisy, like they already talk to each other. If you see her, stay far away from her. That's an activist. She's gonna get you in trouble. So it's like, I come in, I kind of fall in through the door, with the door, with the activism door. And that's very self-sabotaging also, But of course I have to say to some of these people, I have to say the truth. I have to tell them, this is not working. You can't be breeding a C-section mama dog, Just can't breed her a second time. Some people breed them over and over again with scar tissue. They die from scar tissue, internal scar tissue, from being cut open over and over and over again. I have to say something. I'm a mama. I have to say something. Okay, this is unacceptable. I can't tolerate that. So I have to say it, of course. But yeah, of course, then, like, I have not met one breeder who doesn't have dollar signs on their eyes, okay? So it's very difficult. I wished I could find an ethical breeder. Would be really nice. But maybe we should do it and live by example and do it right, you know, and not breed a C-section mama a second time, for example. Start there. So that's all my message to the world in general, you know. These are very concrete messages. Okay? To say something like this is not finger pointing, and it is not an angry rant. This is factual information that comes from compassion, and it is an appeal. It is a plea to the world. Okay? That's an activism, petition to the world. So, but if I get stuck in an angry rant and I talk about this for 3 hours straight and rant and rant and rant and find fault with people, that's not going to get it anymore, of course. No, I have to walk my talk. I have to inform people in a stern and peaceful way and not talk about it for 10 hours straight, but say it one time, and that is good enough. And maybe I say it another time also, you know, succinctly in 1 or 2 sentences, and then let go of it. And then maybe another time arises where I may have to say that again. And that's activism, okay? But that's different to angry rants. I want to understand all of these people, first of all. You know, I don't want to condemn them into a dungeon. They're all, you know, even if they're greedy, you know, there's something that pushes that. It's very sad. And I want to help, and I want to inspire them to introspect and to feel compassion for the mama dogs, for animals in general, for all beings, okay, for one another, okay, very important. In regards to men and women, you know, I see what's going on. I see the entire psychological picture of it. Men have been drilled into an idea of what they think is manly, and that's a complete misunderstanding. So what is manly, what really actually is manly and masculine, is when a man owns up to his mistake and is not afraid of being seen in a pink t-shirt or with long hair, or being puritanically healthy living, as if that's something that is, you know, how can something like this be misunderstood as not manly? That's just beyond my total wrapping my head around it. So it's like, we are mammals, we want to be healthy, you know. Every animal wants to be healthy. If you show an animal alcohol, they turn away. They don't want that. So my mother's horses, they like that. They like the fermented apples in the wintertime that were still on the ground. The boss of them, the biggest guy, he took all of them. He chased all the other ones away, because these fermented apples, they taste sweet, and of course I'm sure he liked to be giggly a little bit. So, but if you show whiskey to an animal, they don't like it. So why do humans turn to something like this? That's a lot more convoluted. That's self-medicating with something very toxic. And then it becomes, then so many do it, then it becomes some kind of group thing where someone who comes in and doesn't do it is being labeled a puritanical party pooper or a Karen. So no, that's then something that is really, really bad for you becomes socially not only acceptable, but it becomes a social peer pressure on top of it. We need to introspect into all of these things and understand that the way most people are living their daily lives is toxic and unhealthy, and it does not lead to peace, okay, in their own minds and among each other. Okay, you have to start to question what your dad told you, what the men in society told you, what ministers told you, and so on. And even some mothers become enablers, and some women think that they need to believe everything that the husband says or the minister, and then they jump on that bandwagon and they play along with that. They give in to this, they let them act in a completely wrong way, and then things suffer. Entire society suffers. So, and then when someone comes along and who points this out and who says this doesn't work, then first of all, someone like me gets really into the hot seat, gets under fire, gets bombarded with a lot of accusations and hate and all of that. So that then also makes a lot of people shut up and put duct tape over their mouths. But that's still not making the world better. Okay, if we want to make the world better, we have to stand up and we have to say this suffering must end. Okay, I will not cater to that suffering cycle any further. Okay, I step out of that suffering cycle. And the more people do it, the better. And that's not a movement, that's an internal understanding, okay, of each individual. Okay, that's not an echo chamber. That's the opposite of the echo chamber. And that's what I want you to do. Step out of that cycle of suffering. Okay, it takes a lot of courage. I understand that, but you owe that courage to your own body. And then things will get better when you say something genuine to someone. You know what my response to that is. I cry, I am so touched. I so much deeply appreciate it when I reach someone, when someone comes up to me and says, your videos are making me feel better. That means so infinitely much to me. So thank you for saying that. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. And that's the path of healing. The moment you're getting into this, what the Buddhists call that the soft spot, the bodhicitta. The bodhicitta, like BODHICHITTA. the bodhicitta, that is the soft spot in our hearts. So that's the inner child. That's what I call the inner child. That's what I call the real you. That is the vulnerable person that says something sweet. And you let the armor down. And that's wonderful. Okay? And that's how we move forward. That's how men should talk to women. Okay? And then we move forward. And then love happens. Okay? You guys take it. Peace and love for all living beings and all European Bastards.